What's up, guys? My name is Charlie Garwood. I'm a photographer based out of Louisville, Kentucky, and today I have something exciting to share with you guys, and it is a behind-the-scenes look at what it looks like for me to take photos at a church service. So before we get started, the carryover from photography on a Sunday to event photography is very high, I guess is the word I'm looking for. There's going to be a lot of similarities with shooting a church service as well as shooting an event. One thing that I like to encourage other photographers and videographers to do is to volunteer and get involved with a church. Churches are always looking for volunteers and people to serve. Whether you serve for photo and video or not, it can be a great place to just use the gifts that God has given you to help further His kingdom. And for me, that was a big shift in my faith and in my journey and my growth on this walk with Christ. But if you do volunteer as a photographer and videographer, you get to practice. You get to practice on the gift that God has given you in ways that there aren't really stipulations on. You have kind of X, Y, and Z that you have to get, but outside of that, there's not really any rules. Like, be creative. If you want to try a new shot, if you want to see how something looks at a different angle, or you want to try a new lens, or you just want to try something, and if it fails and it sucks, cool. If it doesn't and it's great, awesome. Church kind of gives you the flexibility and the freedom to do that and to create. Outside of having the church being kind of a practice field for you, you also get this like melting pot, especially with Life Point Louisville. You get this melting pot of creatives who are all just willing to teach and learn and grow. And getting around people like that will not only encourage you to create more, but it'll encourage you to do things that are challenging and out of your comfort zone. For me, my church journey kind of started with it being a TED Talk. I saw it as a TED Talk. I'd show up on Sundays, get that TED Talk, and it would kind of motivate me throughout the week. My faith has since grown and evolved into something much deeper. But if that's the perspective that you need to have going into it, just trust that God will put you in the right place and put you around the right people to help you grow. Okay, let's get into the video. So I've been really wanting to take you guys behind the scenes on a Sunday and behind the scenes on events. And typically I will shoot it, it will live on my GoPro, and I will not do anything with it. But I'm trying to make it a priority to bring that stuff to life, put eyes on it, so that it can in turn help you guys grow or give you just something entertaining to watch. So last Sunday, I kind of start every Sunday off very similarly. I will get my things ready, grab a cup of coffee, gotta have the coffee, give some handshakes, give some high fives, say what's up to people, and then move myself into the chapel. This past Sunday, I was a little bit late getting there. After we had our second baby, we weren't on time for anything for at least 8 months. And that still is the case sometimes. But after going into the chapel, I'm looking for people with their hands up. Maybe they're praying. Maybe they got a smile on their face. But as I'm doing that, I'm like focusing a little bit more on the worship team. This is a great opportunity, obviously, to get worship photos, but I just start there, kind of knock the dust off a little bit, and then I will move into different positions around the church. Here you'll see me moving to the right side of the church. This is probably my favorite spot because I can kind of tuck behind this light, and typically I will just use the light, the actual light, to cast like a little bit of an orange glow on the image. This time there were a little bit more people off to the right, so I was trying not to be distracting, and I kind of hugged that light a little more than I typically would. And it also, not only did it give me this orange glow, but it also gave me the reflection of the blue light that was on stage coming off of the I don't know what those are called, frenulum maybe? I don't know, that could be something completely different. I have no idea. Whatever the little flaps are. And it made for a good contrast of colors with the orange and the fort on this side of the image and the blue on this side of the image. So yeah, I just hung out there for a little bit. Usually the front row gives you a lot of good energy, a lot of good vibes. And they kind of also understand that they might be on camera if they're in the front row and it's something that they do not care about. So those are great people to grab images of. So on this particular day, I did something a little bit different. I wanted to show motion. So I wanted to just drag the shutter a little bit, and what that looked like for me was dropping the shutter speed and then just basically panning really quick. I wanted to do it enough so that the focal point was in fact like had some detail and not just a blur, so that you could see what you were looking at, but the motion within the image gave it a little bit of creative feel. It's something that I love doing when I have a flash, especially at weddings during the reception, but I wanted to challenge myself a little bit and see if we could do it without a flash and get an image that I enjoyed. So after worship, we always do a meet and greet, and what I typically do is I will go to the stage and I will just literally sit on the stage with, in this case, an 85, sometimes a 70 to 200, depending if I have it or not, and I will just watch people give handshakes, hugs, high fives, just watch people welcoming each other. It helps tell a story of a welcoming church and a welcoming community, one that you might want to go check out. So I'll hang up there for a little bit. After I feel like I've gotten a good handful of usable images, I'll then go back to the back of the room and wait for the pastor to hop on stage. At this point, I'm really just looking for essentially a YouTube thumbnail. I'm looking to capture an image where the pastor is smiling. I try to anyways, and most of the time at the first like 5 to 10 minutes of the sermon, they'll usually crack a couple jokes or smile a little bit more than they will in the meat and potatoes of the actual sermon. So the first 5 to 10 minutes is a good spot to grab that image. Once I feel like I've gotten that image, I will then go up to Kids Point and do images of the kids and things like that. But a couple of tips while you're in the chapel and either worship or the sermon is happening. Especially last Sunday, I shot the earlier service, so it wasn't really as full as the later service would have been. And one way that you can kind of combat that is by using people to frame your subject. So kind of stacking people in the foreground of your image to help tell the story that the room is a little bit more full than it actually is. You'll see if you kind of look more at my work that I tend to do that almost naturally. I want to give this feel that the viewer of the image is in that room, and that is one way that you can kind of help do that. So as we come to the end of this video, I hope that there's some value here for you. I don't know how much time I got left on my memory card, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, and I appreciate you guys watching this. Again, if you're in the Louisville area and you want to come check out a church, come check out Life Point, holler at me. I'd love to see you there. Outside of that, that's all I got, and I'll see you guys in the next video.